welcome to Goonie's World. I am Goonie, also known as Colin, and I am joined, as usual, by Johnny Farrow, also known as Sean.
Hi there, how's everybody doing?
And Meanie, also known as Ryan.
Greetings.
And Sean is going to be our GM for tonight, and you can tell us what we're playing.
It's actually a one-page game by Grant Howitt called Sexy Battle Wizards. And that guy does a lot of really cute one-page games. So it's a very narrative game, obviously. But in Sexy Battle Wizards, our heroes are members of the College Errant, which is an organization based in a magical flying castle that roves the land seeking to avert arcane disasters and fight injustice. They have absolutely zero authority to do this, and the authorities hate them, and they're wanted in several other countries for collateral damage caused while saving the world. This system has no setting, so ours will be set in an alternate history where the Roman Empire never fell, and by the equivalent of the late 1800s, it rules the whole Western Hemisphere and has a lot in common with what we might think of as the British Empire culturally, in the Victorian era. And the ruler is the eternal Empress Gloriana, whose legions and battle blimps enforce the imperial will throughout the provinces. And our game is specifically starting in the province of Dakota, which is one of the largest in the empire and stretches from the Rockies to the Pacific Ocean, basically. And it's mostly a region of ranchers and farmers, but the glittering city of Praseodymium, located in the northern Rocky Mountains somewhere, is a sophisticated, urbane place, the cultural equivalent of Rome or London. Now, magic is, of course, real, but its practitioners are rare enough that they tend to fill roles in society similar to those that superheroes or supervillains might fill. And most famous of them all, of course, are the Sexy Battle Wizards of the College Errant. So let's meet two of them right now. Ryan, can you tell us about your sexy battle wizard and let us know your name and what makes you sexy and your signature weapon and your school of magic and all that good stuff?
Okay. My name is Agony Cataclysm, and it's kind of like a steampunk goth type of guy, That's why that's why I'm kind of known as like the dangerous rebel with a cool jacket. And I kind of keep talking in first person, but I have like the really cool jacket, and I'm armed with a rift cannon, and appropriately, my magical school is the secrets of occult shadowmancy, so I'm, a shadowmancer.
Nice. And how about you, Goonie? How about your character? Tell us about yours.
Well, of course, I am the great and powerful Salami Razzmatazz. And he belongs to the school of the lore of light, kind of the opposite, I guess, of shadowmancy.
Mm-hmm.
He's sexy because he has an amazing bone structure, and his weapon is an ember fist, which is part of it's its actual fist. It's
right
ember, like hot.
Okay, cool.
And I picture him, he's bald, very shiny head, kind of like Patrick Stewart, but he doesn't look like Patrick Stewart. He's got a goatee, and he is very handsome, and he wears something that you'd probably see like a figure skater wear, where it's a very tight white like one-piece thing, and it's got like those not rhinestones, but the
like
like Michael Jackson's glove sequins.
Yeah.
Yes, and he's got this cut down the front, like this V, plunging V down, but it goes way down, like to his almost just above his pubic area, so you can see like his chiseled abs and all that.
Does he got like a hairy chest, or is it all smooth and shiny?
No, it's very smooth,
Okay.
shiny.
Yeah, and we haven't made them yet, but we'll have character sheets up so you guys can take a look at these characters, and out on our Twitter account. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can always see our character sheets. But let's go ahead and start. Agony, Cataclysm, and Salami Razzmatazz are in their magical flying castle, flying somewhere over the desert in the southwest of the province of Dakota. And suddenly you hear a news report come over the newly invented Ansible, which is like a wireless radio-type communication device. It looks something like a giant golden seashell. It's there in a pillar in your study. I picture this kind of Victorian-style study, with big bookshelves, on a lot of dark woods and red carpets, but there's also maps on the walls of the world, and you guys hang out in there a lot. But over the Ansible, you hear the news caller saying,
"This just in. Terrible news from Prasiodymium, where the villainous wizard Septimus Foul has escaped from imprisonment. Dozens of legionnaires were killed, and the west wing of NORAD Penitentiary was destroyed in the process. The wicked Septimus Foul is, of course, infamous for countless nefarious plots, including the undead uprising of 87 and the demonic incursions of 91. Septimus Foul was aided in his escape by an army of rogue automatons, one of which was recovered by authorities from the rubble of the penitentiary. It has been taken to the tower of the imperial sorceress Lucretia Salacious, in the hopes that by studying it, some clue can be gained as to Septimus Foul's current whereabouts. In other news..."
And it stretches off into some other news that's of less consequence to the moment. Now, Septimus Foul happens to actually be an old enemy of yours. In fact, it was you who defeated him when he was imprisoned in the first place. He used to be a member of the College Errant before he went bad and turned evil. He's a tall, sexy wizard with a majestic mustache, and he wields a sepulchral blade, and he knows the magical school of the arcana of the Supreme Doorway. You guys all know that about him already. Do you guys want to go after Septimus Foul and try to return him to imprisonment or stop him once and for all?
Absolutely, the man is a tyrant. He must be stopped immediately.
I mean, I kind of feel bad for him, because I can respect the darkness that must be fueling his wickedness, but regardless of that, I think we got to take him down.
Yes, you might respect his darkness, but the man chose a life of crime, and we are honored. We are forced to deal with him. He must be stopped.
What we do isn't exactly legal either, right?
No, of course not, but we are doing the righteous thing, of course.
Doing the right thing isn't always legal.
Yes, that's exactly my philosophy.
Well, also, the sepulchral blade that Septimus Foul wields is really, really pretty goth. I imagine you might be slightly envious of it. It doesn't get more gothy than that big death blade that he's got. But, so I guess if you defeated him, you could always take it. But anyway, based on that Ansible report, there's essentially two places that might offer clues. There's the rubble of NORAD Penitentiary where he escaped from. There could be some clues left behind there. And then, of course, the tower of the imperial sorceress Lucretia Salacious. She's essentially a sanctioned sexy battle wizard, who works directly for the imperial powers. But obviously they've got the rogue automaton they captured there. So I'm sure you could find clues in either one of those places, but from where you're at, the penitentiary is a little bit closer. But you guys have some other thing?
Yes,
Go ahead.
I do believe that we must start at the beginning. The beginning is where he was imprisoned and where he broke out and where we might find our first clues.
Okay, sounds good. I just thought there could be something you guys might throw me for a loop with, or do something I hadn't thought of. But I say probably.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I do think that Lucretia is very incredibly sexy, and I do look forward to seeing her at some point. But I don't think that's the priority right now.
Okay. And, of course, I don't know what it is about battle wizards that makes them so sexy, but whether they're villains or heroes or whatever, they're just always super sexy. It's literally the name of the game. Well, as your magical castle flies through the atmosphere towards the north, you feel fairly well concealed by a vaporous sea of clouds, which are glowing gold and copper red right now because it's late afternoon. You know, when you look down, you don't even see the ground. You see billowing clouds everywhere, all doughy and golden. But suddenly, from below those clouds comes a great shadow of an Imperial battle blimp, and it's rising up to intercept you. And there are flags flashing on it in a pattern that it's like a semaphore-type pattern that indicates the commander of the ship seeks to parley, not battle. You guys, even though what you do is illegal, you're not officially charged or wanted in the Empire right now. You're wanted in some other countries, but so far you've avoided actual prosecution for anything that you've done within the Empire. But that battle blimp's hovering in pretty close if you want to let it get towards you. So close, in fact, that its big ornate bow is just a dozen feet or so from the pinnacle of the tallest tower of your magic castle. Would you guys like to go up there and parley with whoever's on this blimp?
Well, do they look like they're going to dock?
No, they're not going to dock. In fact, they can't dock. You don't really have docking facilities. They're just hovering up there, matching your speed, so that you could go out theoretically onto the tower top and have a chat.
I think I'd like to shoot some light sort of across her bow.
Okay, that
see
seems...
if that get them to back off.
Okay, and this is like almost the equivalent of being pulled over, essentially. You've done nothing that you can be arrested for, but I think that shooting a beam of light over their bow is something very standard sexy battle wizard stuff with standard results. So the target number would be a 4. So you want to roll your wizard dice, and one of your dice, we hope, is above a 4, like a 5 or a 6.
Yeah.
And you just pick your highest one.
I only have a 1 in wizard. That's our little secret. He lets everyone believe that he is a very great wizard.
But you put most of your points into sexy, right?
No, it's mostly in battle.
Okay.
But he's sexier than Agony.
Yeah.
Yeah, Agony is only 1 sexy.
So
I will roll 1d6.
1d6. Here you go. We're looking for higher than a 4,
spell.
5 or 6.
5.
Well, that's great. And describe how you do this beam of light. How's you got a lot of narrative power in this game over your magic. So I know your intention is to make them back off a little bit, but how's it look when you do it? What's the deal there?
I'm going to say I forgot to mention that he's got quite a bulge, but that's he's not going to include that.
That's the bone structure you referred to earlier.
You could say that, but yeah, he's not going to incorporate that in, but he will sort of. He kind of can't help but thrust his hips when he casts spells. Just to emphasize it.
Right.
But just for this, he's just going to kind of toss, most like it starts off as like a ball of light, of white light. And he's kind of thrown it, like he's just throwing a ball. But then when it flies through the air, it turns into more like a beam of light.
Okay.
And then goes across their bow.
Okay. Yeah, you succeed in it, and the blimp fires its pneumatic brakes and stops up short a little bit. But again, they're waving the parlay semaphore flags, and there's a voice on it. Now, I didn't really clarify this. For you to have fired it, I guess you would have gone up to the top of the tower where it is, or are you firing out the window of your study?
Well, I suppose I could just do it out the window.
Okay. And
and I feel like I should say that, add the little minor detail that seeing you do your light magic, as he typically does, Agony kind of just scoffs and mumbles under his breath something about how silly, the power of light is.
Yes. The power of light. Well, there you can hear a voice like on a megaphone coming not like a megaphone, but like just a cone, like an old school cheerleader cone type of voice. Hail, sexy battle wizards! We call you for parley. This is Wing Commander Murgatroyd. You guys know Wing Commander Murgatroyd. He's somebody you've tangled with before. But we seek parley, sexy battle wizards.
What do you want, Murgatroyd? Agony is going to yell out the window.
Okay, so I assume you guys go over to the window at the point where you could see him now, and they back off to be less aggressive in their posture after that beam of light. I can have you cited, says Inspector Murgatroyd, for firing upon an Imperial battle blimp. And when you see him, he's got big red mutton chops and this sort of like finned helmet that looks kind of like a Rocketeer helmet, but it also like that Roman-style crest, on top of the helmet. It's black, and he's got this great big fur-collared coat, and he's got the obligatory steampunk-style goggles. And there are a couple dozen Imperial Marines on the blimp, but they are not at battle stations. He says, I suppose you've heard that your old comrade Septimus Foul has escaped.
Of course. We are investigating the case at this moment. You're in fact interfering with our business.
No, that's precisely why we tracked you down. We want you to, any information you have, we would appreciate, but we don't want any meddling from you pesky, sexy battle wizards. The last time you tangled with a villainous wizard, the Palace of the Tsar in St. Petersburg was reduced to tapioca pudding. Or do you not remember?
I recall, law enforcement is always trying to impede us and our crime fighting, and I blame it entirely on you.
Well, that's very unfair, because I've always given you sexy battle wizards the benefit of the doubt. I'm giving you fair warning that we don't want any magical mishaps in the province of Dakota, thank you very much. But do you have any information that you can share? Have you been in contact with Septimus Foul at all?
No, of course not. And the only way we're going to get any information is to do some meddling, like you just asked us not to. So if you want us to actually get some information, we're going to have to go down and investigate. But, that doesn't necessarily include magical mishaps.
Well, it had better not. Consider yourself warned. I suppose a few simple questions might be in order, considering how sexy you are.
Well, you may ask your simple questions.
Well, my specific question was whether or not you have had any contact with him. We thought perhaps he may try to contact you for gloating purposes or to try to convert you to his dark ends. But you say you have not heard from Septimus Foul?
No, we have not, but that is, I will give you credit for a good thought. I believe that this man will attempt to contact us at some point to gloat, as he is wont to do.
Well, if he does, I expect your full cooperation. Do you understand that?
Yes, of course. Well, we'll cooperate as much as we are able if it does not impede our own investigation.
Do you agree with this, Agony Cataclysm?
Yeah.
Man, a few words. All right, consider yourself warned about any shenanigans or magical mishaps, though. You have license to ask a few questions. That is all. Do you understand? You leave the real crime fighting to the real authorities, the Imperial Marines.
You have absolutely no authority over me. The College Errant does what it feels like at all times. But we will cooperate as much as we're able.
Yes, we will. And also, Murgatroyd, surely you are aware that it's possible that Septimus will, show up to Gloat in person, and we can't obviously promise that there, if he starts using his sexy magic on us, we are obligated by Sexy Battle Wizard Code to Sexy Battle Wizard fight him.
I am correct. I'm well aware of the provisions of the Sexy Battle Wizard Code as required reading at the Academy. However, if he were to come here in your own property in your own area, do as you need to do. But if you are around civilian areas, please keep collateral damage to a minimum. We'll have no government buildings made of pudding here, or wreathed in shadow, or emblazoned in rainbow light. So, again, consider yourself warned, Sexy Battle Wizards. And I think, by the way, Salami Razzmatazz, that the Eternal Empress Gloriana would quibble with you over whether or not she has authority over you. But we'll save that discussion for another time. Just be sure that you don't have that discussion in jail.
Very well. I believe we will be on our way now.
And, they fire their pneumatic jets to back off away from you and turn around and then engage their engines and pull away from you, leaving you there in the glowing sea of clouds that slowly, as you travel, gets darker and darker into a deep copper color. And soon enough it is mist, but your castle flies at an incredible speed and heads off towards the NORAD penitentiary, which is in a hollow mountain high in remote fastnesses of the Rockies. And when you come down out of the cloud layer to about where it is, the whole thing is just shrouded in mist, and you see the entire western slope of the mountain is just collapsed in this huge pile of rubble. And night's falling, so there are huge gas lamps suspended from balloons around the area that's illuminating work of repair crews who are working at night. And a lot of the prison cells actually are exposed along that western face, and so temporary bars have been put up. And there's really no disguising your castle. So obviously, unless you did try to disguise it somehow with your magic in some way I haven't thought about, I guess you could wreathe it in shadow or make it appear to be something else maybe. You do have permission from Murgatroyd to go around, but bureaucracies being what they are, you could get stuck with red tape, so you could always sneak around if you preferred, if you didn't want to try the direct approach. But either approach is legitimate. How do you guys want to proceed?
Would it be possible to keep the castle above the clouds, like over this mountain, and then just, I don't know what Salami does, but Agony would, want to ride a magical wave of darkness down to the site.
You guys can do whatever.
I think you do know what I would like to do.
And you guys can do whatever the hell you want to try to do with your magic. It's all a matter of the dice at this point. But I think both of those things, if you're going to leave the castle up here and surf on darkness or light, down to the surface, you can certainly do that, and I think that also sounds like standard sexy battle wizard stuff with standard results. So your target number would be a 4. You want to roll higher than the 4, so a 5 or 6. So you guys can go ahead and roll your... And I'd love to hear a description of exactly what this looks like, but as you do that, go ahead and roll your wizard dice and pick the highest result. You want a 5 or a 6.
And of course, I'm throwing my dice on the floor already.
Cue the throwing the dice on the floor music.
Yeah, it's going to be a regular thing.
I think it should be.
All right.
Okay, so how'd you guys do? How's your light and shadow surfing gone?
Not well for me. I rolled a 2.
2. Well, I'm afraid that you fail, sir, and your light is scattered, and it's not a good, solid, coherent beam. Maybe it's the mist, that rises around the castle,
yes,
or the clouds themselves that prevent you. But unfortunately, you fall. Now, you're a sexy battle wizard. You're powerful. You can fall from great heights and still survive. But you take 1 stress when you fall, so please mark a stress on your sheet. You've also failed, and so I don't think we need to we don't need to check for you to blow up yet. But you also get 1 determination as well.
All right.
And so taking a stress and a determination. Determination is great, but you can't get it unless you fail, so it kind of encourages you to take wild actions. But, you start off on the beam of light, but then fall the remainder of the distance and land very hard, taking a level of stress. So let's not forget that you've got 1 stress. In case you fail again, we need to check that. Meanwhile, how about Agony Cataclysm? How did his descent go?
Unfortunately, I didn't succeed either, but I succeeded better by rolling a 4, and I feel like I should mention that he waves his arms around and generates darkness that looks almost like waves of, like in the ocean, which he would then basically slide down like a water slide. But I'm not sure if that happens or not. I don't remember what happens if you get right on the number.
Well, you get right on the number, then you do take 1 stress, and I'll describe something bad that happens, which is you do slide down, just like you said, like on a water slide of shadow. But you know how you come off a slide, and land really hard on your ass? That's what happened. You like skid across the rocks and the rubble, and it's neither of you make a particularly sexy entrance onto the scene. And they might not have noticed you at all had not there been what essentially looked like a flash of lightning in the sky that petered out. And so certainly you find yourselves now not very far at all from where the laborers are hammering piles of rubble, hammering big rocks into smaller rocks and carting it away in wheelbarrows. They've got all kinds of repair work they're going to have to do. But there are about a dozen prison guards who come running out towards you. They've got sabers and Gatling pistols. They're not pointing them at you like they're going to attack, but they're rushing out to form up in a battle line right in front of you. And who goes there? Says one of them.
We're the College Errant. We're here on official business, and you may attempt to help us, or you may find yourselves very well punished.
Official business, you say? On whose authority?
Well, we don't have... We are on our own authority, but if you may wonder, we have just spoken with... what was his name? Captain Murgatroyd?
Wing Commander Murgatroyd. Yeah.
Okay. Wing Commander Murgatroyd, we do have permission to be here on his authority, but as I said, we don't need authority at all.
We have the authority of sexiness.
Well, that's just what right. I was just about to bring that up. You're trying to be convincing. You're trying to... I think for these sorts of social roles, the best stat to roll is sexy. You can both roll. Only one of you has to succeed. And again, it's pretty standard. Does your sexiness overwhelm, their natural reticence to cooperate? And we're looking for 5s and 6s here.
I only rolled a 4.
Well, I rolled a 5.
Okay, nice. Well, your jacket is so cool, and in contrast to the brash Salami, you're just a little more cool and understated about the whole thing. Salami, go ahead and take a point of stress, though, since you equaled the target number. But you did not fail officially. You've just taken a level of stress. I would normally describe something bad that happens here, but the looks of disgust on the faces of the prison guard as they look at you and shake their heads, offended by your attitude and perhaps the hint of pubic hair at the very base of your plunging neckline. But they do seem a little bit more impressed by Agony Cataclysm. Very well, then. Very briefly, though, you are in a restricted zone. We can't be held responsible for what occurs here. For the love of all that's holy, please try not to bring the entire mountain down.
The mountain will not be tapioca.
Very good. I hate tapioca.
Oh, and I realized I forgot to describe Agony Cataclysm's appearance.
Please do, yeah. I mean, I had a general idea from goth, steampunk goth, but I'm curious to hear more.
So he wears black leather boots and black leather pants and a black leather jacket, and it's very steampunky though, with like all the buckles and straps and stuff, and he kind of looks a little bit like Jim Morrison. Okay. He's got like the kind of long black hair and kind of a 5 o'clock shadow.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering about the hair, whether it would be long or whether it would be like all Robert Smith style, but I like the Jim Morrison-esque look.
And he's got a big, very sort of steampunky belt buckle in the, it's like got gears and shit on it.
Totally cool. I like it. Does he wear any makeup at all? Like black lipstick, black eyeliner, or is it just
eyeliner. I mean, of course.
Okay, cool. All right, well, you guys didn't really have to sneak in or come up with some weird plan. You're going to be allowed to go in and investigate the area. Corporal is assigned to kind of follow you around and answer any questions you might have. He seems pretty excited about it. He's a real young guy. His mustache even hasn't fully come in yet. Still a real young-looking mustache. But he follows you guys around to escort you. What would you like to see first, sirs?
Let us go to the scene of the crime where he escaped.
Certainly take you...
like his cell, I think, would be the first place.
Very well, and we're lucky. We won't have far to go. He's partially exposed here. We haven't put bars back up on his yet, but his cell mates on either side of him, we've had to put up this temporary bars, as you see. As you well know, there's no room at the inn here at NORAD Penitentiary. But he leads you up some rubble, and there's like a temporary scaffolding all built up and some rickety stairs. And the corporal leads you up to the actual site of his cell itself. And there are all kinds of notes all over the walls. He's been scribbling all over the walls in here. And you can look at that in a minute more closely. Otherwise, it just looks like your standard prison cell, With there's not even like a full-on toilet, though. It's more of a hole and a bench and the cot. And then in the cell next to him, though, is actually occupied. There's a completely hairless guy wearing a classic striped prison suit with a little beanie-type hat. Oh brother, where art thou? Style prison suit. And he's sitting there watching you with a bemused expression on his face. Do you guys want to look into the writing that Septimus Foul has apparently written all over his walls, or do you want to talk to this hairless fellow who obviously spent a lot of time nearby him, or both, or in what order, or what you like to do first?
The hairless guy. Do you mean the guy with the The prison guard guy?
Yeah. No. This is a guy who's in a cell next to him. He's in the cell next door to Septimus Foul's cell. So he, may have spoken to him frequently. He's kind of looking at you guys through the bars. The corporal just stands quietly aside unless he's addressed at this point. He's still a little bit in awe of the famous sexy battle wizards.
Well, I want to read what the Septimus Foul has written on the wall.
Well, you do that, and I'll go talk to this hairless guy.
Okay.
Very well.
All right. Well, first of all, you do get a look at the walls. You can see it's all magical script, and to make sense of it, you need to make another wizard roll with the standard difficulty of 4. But the only thing bad that'll happen is you just won't quite get it if you fail.
Damn. I rolled a 1.
Uh-oh. Well, you have failed, and so your total stress right now is 3 altogether.
Yep.
And that is higher than the highest dice that you just rolled, right? Which was a 1. And unfortunately, and this is something you've seen happen before, it's always a little bit awkward, but there's just a boosh, there's an explosion of light magic, and after a few moments of crippling pain, you reform and reconstitute in the Chapel of Ages inside the Castle Errant after a little while. And now your determination and your stress have been reduced to normal. Now, we won't back up now, but I guess I should have probably pointed out to you. You could have used that determination maybe to roll another dice, but yeah, but that's okay. You blew up, and that's about as close as you come to dying in this game. So while you're reconstituting, we'll go back down to Agony Cataclysm. Well.
And I'm just like imagining. Oh, sorry.
No, he was just gonna say, well. It's the famous Agony Cataclysm.
Yeah, well, I was imagining he walks like Salami walks into the cell and starts like reading the walls, and I walk over to the cell to talk to this guy, and then both of us kind of jump as Salami explodes.
Yes, both of you do. As does the corporal. And I love the idea that it's like light residue, like the light becomes like almost like mercury-like and physical, and like runs down everybody's faces a little bit. And it's always a little bit shocking. But well, I suppose your friend overreached a little bit, didn't he? Says the hairless prisoner.
Yeah, I hate it when I get this light jizz all over my face.
Light jizz, I like that. Well, I suppose you've heard of me then.
No.
No, he looks very disappointed. I am Leo the Coiner, the premier counterfeiter of the entire empire. And you still haven't heard of him. Counterfeiters are below your guys' attention.
Okay, so what'd you counterfeit, like money?
Yes, absolutely right. Coins, of course, absolute coinage. Real gold and silver, none of this paper stuff. I only work for the best. Say, I don't suppose I could come work for you. Could you pull some strings and get me out of here? I could make you all the money you need. Now, says the corporal, there'll be none of that.
I'm far too sexy for that.
Well, if I were a bit sexier, perhaps I'd be a battle wizard myself, but... So, what can I do for you?
Tell me about Septimus Foul and anything you saw that might have, contributed to his escape. Any information you can offer.
Well, I'll do what I can, but in return, I want you to speak to the warden here and get my rations increased. I'm starving. Look at me.
I'm far too sexy to negotiate on your behalf.
Oh, I'm doomed to lose weight. I want to be large and round and sexy. But listen, Septimus Foul didn't speak to me much. Now, do you want to talk about a sexy man? That Septimus Foul was very sexy. His mustache was magnificent. I was very much jealous of it. I don't grow hair myself anywhere. It's a condition I have. But But no, when I was awakened, I was having a bit of a after-breakfast nap, you see. And there was a terrible rubble, a terrible explosion. Several people died, as you can see. The whole west wing collapsed. I woke up, I looked over, and he was flying away to a doorway in the sky, you see. The doorway was almost like it was sucking him into it. And he turned around, and he did favor me with a bit of a wave. But clockwork men, I suppose you'd call them, rogue automatons, I believe is what the warden referred to them as, were all over the place, firing nail guns at the poor guards to create a distraction. And then they all, too, were sucked through the magical doorway. But one was taken. One of the guards got one of them, and I didn't see anything else. But that's what happened. However, Foul did talk to me sometimes, and he seemed to be making strange hints over the last few days. And at one point he was adjusting his garments. He had the same garments I do, although he looked very sexy in his. And he was cutting off the legs and the sleeves of his garments. And I asked him why, and he said he didn't have to tell me why. But he had nothing to do other than listen to me all day, so I kept pestering him. And he said that he was looking forward to some sunny weather, because soon he was going to be going someplace that was a lot warmer. And I just thought, of course, he's cracked, he's batty, but now I see that perhaps he did have some plan after all.
Interesting, okay. That's very useful information.
Yes, thank you. Are you sure you can't speak to the prison warden about my rations?
Well, you say you want to be large and round.
Yes, I find that very sexy.
But, does it pain you that you are not sexy?
I suppose it doesn't cause me physical pain, but it causes me emotional distress. You sexy battle wizards have all the fun, and I had to be right in a cell next to one of the sexiest men alive for, these past 3 years. So yes, I do very much want to be sexy, but I suppose it doesn't cause me physical pain.
Well, I can talk to the warden, but, I'm not certain that I'm sexy enough to persuade him.
Well, your friend is quite a bit sexier than you, if you don't mind my saying. Now, at this point, Salami, you've completely reconstituted there in the Chapel of Ages. It's like you wake up on kind of this, like, not a bed, but like almost like a sarcophagus, In the Chapel of Ages, it does have a chapel-like appearance with stained glass and everything else. It's a very magical place. But do you want to try to get back down there on on another beam of light?
Can I just is that the only way to get there?
No, I just said that because that's what you did last time. You could think of any way to get back down there, because you're a little sexier than Agony. If you wanted to try to, if you gave a shit about this guy's rations.
I'm just trying to get back to the cell where we were.
If you want to, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, can I just pull the... Am I flying this castle? Or
this castle kind of flies where you guys want it to. It's magic. It's a magic. There's not a lot of reason to it. But you want to take it down out of the clouds and just hop off?
Yeah, because he doesn't care about being quiet, or he likes to make a grand entrance anyway. So.
Well, it certainly does. And Agony, you see the eyes of Leo the Coiner and the Corporal go wide as the castle of the College Errant comes looming down out of the cloud cover into the light of these gas lamps that are hanging on balloons all over the place and illuminating the scene. And there's quite a bit of gasping from the guards and pointing up at the castle. And soon you hop off and you're right back down with your friends after your light jizz explosion.
Yes, pardon me if I had to attend to some business. I did not, fail at any sort of magical spell of any kind. I just actually just had to go, and now I'm back. And what did you learn?
Well, apparently Septimus escaped into a door in the sky and went somewhere warm.
Interesting.
Yeah, and the door in the sky is a good indication of his, his school of magic, which is the arcana of the supreme doorway, and a lot of his magic involves manifesting doorways and going into and out of them and sucking people through them and that kind of a thing. Yeah, the important clue being he's probably somewhere warm, very far south of here anyway. And then, of course, there's confirmation that the automaton was taken, and they were armed with nail guns, and he means literally guns that shoot nails,
Salami, I don't know if you care or not, but this counterfeiter over here is very concerned about becoming sexy, and would like somebody to talk to the warden about getting him some more rations. I fear that I am insufficiently sexy, but I feel like you have a pretty good chance because you're, quite a bit sexier than I am. But it may be that we simply don't give a shit about that.
Well, you're right about that. I am sexy, and I don't give a shit because, feeding this man more rations to make him grotesque and large is not my idea of sexy. And,
eye of the beholder, eye of the beholder. But fine, if you won't help me, if you won't help me, you've made an enemy of Leo the Coiner. I'll tell you that. I'm going to devalue your currency someday when I get out of here.
Well, Salami, I thought that maybe he might have some more information that he's holding back. If he'll give it to us if we negotiate with the warden.
What are you whispering about?
Perhaps.
Are you whispering about me?
Do you have any more information you can tell us? Are you holding anything back?
Well, I guess you won't know that until you speak to the warden, will you?
I bet you could use your sexy to get that information out of him. Use your sexy on him to get that information out of him, or use your sexy on the warden to get the rations to get the information out of him. Either way probably works.
Yes, well, maybe I speak to the warden and see if how sexy they are, and maybe our sexiness will complement each other. If in fact the warden is sexy at all.
All right, the corporal takes you not very far away because the warden's out supervising, the night shift and trying to break up all this rubble, and the warden. He wears a monocle, and a great big tall hat, a great big tall white hat with the Imperial Eagle on it. Well, yes, and what's this all about, you sexy battle wizards? Trying to supervise cleanup operations here. It's bad enough that Murgatroyd and his wisdom decided to give you license to come in here and meddle. But what can I do for you, sexy bastards?
Well, this is a matter of ration amounts for a certain prisoner.
Which prisoner?
In fact, is I believe you described him as a counterfeiter.
Oh,
he's a man with no hair.
Leo the Coiner, that hairless freak? No offense. Well, listen, he's getting plenty of rations as it is. I don't know. I don't know if you're quite sexy enough to convince me of this.
I beg your pardon, I am quite sexy.
I do appreciate the plunging neckline. I'd do something myself if I felt I could get away with it, but as you see, those years are past me. I'm now into the dignified older male. I'm more of I like to think of myself as more of a sexy grandpa these days, but someday you'll be there too.
I take great offense to not being called sexy enough by you, and I would like to prove my sexiness And I believe if you take...
How do you do that? You start like flexing muscles, or how do you prove your sexiness? You preen and pose. I'm picturing a Right Said Fred video all of a sudden.
Yeah, he's just thrusting. He's make sure that the eyes are on the bulge, and he's got great flexibility in his hips, and it's kind of like mesmerizing.
I'd say this is standard Sexy Battle Wizard stuff with standard results. Why don't you go ahead and... We need a 4. Let's roll your sexy. Roll your sexy dice, and hopefully one of those dice will be a 5 or a 6.
A 5.
Hey, I admit you've got something there. I have to reconsider after those pelvic thrusts. Those were rather sexy. I say that with a great amount of respect. So, yes, I suppose we can give Leo an extra share of rations for a few months. Won't kill anything. For you, as a personal favor to you, the Sexy Battle Wizards, and a thank you for not causing too many shenanigans here or any magical mishaps. That is greatly appreciated, you sexy folks.
Yes, you're quite welcome.
And while all that's going on, I would like to attempt to read the magical inscriptions that cause Salami to explode.
Okay, go right ahead.
And you said that was a wizard roll?
Yeah, it's a wizard roll, and it's standard stuff.
Fuck, 4 again. And I got 3 goddamn dice in this.
Oh, well, yeah, that's just bad luck. And that being said, it stresses you out, man. It's stressful. You can't figure it out. About the best you can do is gather that it might have something to do with the creation of automatons. There's also some weird communication magic put in there, but you just can't really get whatever clue that these arcane scribblings are giving. But Leo the Coiner is very happy to find out about his rations, and he looks a little shamefaced, though, as he regards both of you. I know that I might have implied that I had more information for you. But since I'm not sexy, I have to get by on deviousness. And so I don't have any more information. And yet I have more rations. What do you think of that, Sexy Battle Wizards? Says Leo the Coiner.
I am devising your punishment as you speak.
Ooh, what are you gonna do? Now I'm just fucking with you. Now I'm just daring you to do something to him. He looks very smug. He's smirking.
Yeah. Perhaps I will use light to burn your fat away until you are as skinny as me, and as you say, not sexy, but of course I believe sexiness, skinniness and sexiness go together. But it would be great punishment for you if you could eat all you want and your fat just dissolves.
His eyes go wide. Do you want to do it? Do you want to light dissolve his fat?
Yes.
All right. That is standard Sexy Battle Wizard stuff with a standard result. So let's have a wizard roll to melt his fat with light. It's like, it's not going to kill him, but his fat will all like run out through his pores, and we'll see what happens, though.
Yeah, I'm really wishing I had taken more in the wizard area, but put it in battle, but hopefully that'll pay off. But right now I will roll.
Yeah, if there's a battle, I'm sure it'll pay off. And we'll see that Ember
Well,
Fist
I only
in
rolled
action.
I only rolled a 3.
Well, I'm sorry, you failed. So you take a point of stress, but you do get a point of determination. And he just giggles, and he's so smug. And a few of the guards who are nearby are like stifling laughter at your expense.
I have decided not to do as I planned, and as I said, it was on purpose, of course.
Well, Agony's going to start waving his hands around and weaving darkness and blind everybody who's giggling.
Okay.
And that's going to be a 6.
Oh, nice. And is this a permanent blindness or just like a temporary,
No, it's not permanent, but he's not going to tell them that.
Okay. I'm blind! A few of them come rushing around in circles, and there's great confusion. And you can see the warden, I said no magical shenanigans! And I suppose you'd better go, says the corporal, before the warden gets... But before you go, if you don't mind, says the young, impressionable corporal, and he reaches into his jacket pocket, and he pulls out these little trading cards. They're sexy battle wizard trading cards. He's got one of each of you, and he's got one of Septimus Foul as well. And you see that the one, Septimus Foul's, is actually autographed. He goes, it would mean a great deal for me if you would mind signing your trading cards for me. Would you please do that?
I'll do you one better. And Agony's going to start waving his hands again and sign his card with the magic of darkness.
Nice. I'd say that's...
and a 6 again.
Oh, wow. You're just an incredible wizard. Oh, thank you very much, sir, Mr. Cataclysm. I appreciate it. And you, Mr. Razzmatazz, would you please sign your card here?
Yes, of course. This card will be very valuable in the future if I sign it, and I will sign it with glowing tendril flight. And he rolls a 3.
Okay, and again, you take another stress, and you failed that. You've got 2 stress, so you're okay. You don't explode, but you failed.
Do I take another determination?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
And these will carry over into the next game, so definitely make note. But I assume you'll have to sign it normally. He looks a little disappointed and produces a little fountain pen from inside his jacket and has you sign it. And
I told you that light stuff is weak sauce, man.
I think there are some magical dampeners around this fortress.
As a matter of fact, says a warden who's just walked out, we did have magical dampeners on Septimus Foul's cell. They were given to us by Lucretia Salacious. I assume you've heard of her.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. She's super sexy.
Yes, she follows law and order, and she goes on missions for... In fact, it's her who had that rogue automaton. We packed it off to her great fortress on the plains east of the mountain. But in the meantime, I don't appreciate you trying to melt the fat of this prisoner. And, however, I overheard everything, and he'll get no extra rations at all from us. Oh, he says, as you guys are led away.
That's what you get for being a liar.
Okay, weak sauce. See you later.
Okay, blindy. Anyway, speaking of law and order, I think Lucretia might have been on the sexy victims unit.
Oh, yes, I know.
Sorry.
SVU, yeah. Of course she was. Well, I'll assume that you go ahead and remount into your castle, your flying castle, and have it rise up out of the vicinity of NORAD prison, up past the balloons that are suspending the gas lamps. And after this brief bit of excitement for the prison staff, you'll ascend through the darkness of the clouds and above the clouds into the moonlight and starlight that shines down overhead and zoom off. And where would you like to go?
I think we gotta go see the sexy Lucretia.
Yes, I concur.
I concur as well. It's almost as if there is a mystical story railroad pointing in that direction. The flying castle rises up through the darkness of the clouds and up above the cloud layer to where the moonlight and starlight shine down on you. And perhaps Salami Razzmatazz feels a little bit rejuvenated by the mysterious lights of the night sky. And, of course, the flying castle moves at incredible speeds, and you zoom off to the plains east of the mountains. And this would be generally in the vicinity of, western Kansas, where it would be today. And coming back down out of the cloud layer, well, you don't really have to do that. But you are well aware of where Lucretius Salacious' tower is. And you know it looks like this great big tiered steel wedding cake set up atop like the Eiffel Tower and rising up out of the plains. And I'm sure that you will have a great adventure there in Lucretius Tower, but we're just going to have to wait until our very sexy next episode to get to that.
Excellent.
All right, so we will see you next time. And stay sexy.
Yes. See you sexy motherfuckers next week.
Hey everybody, if you like our podcast, don't forget to leave us a good rating and or review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, Spotify, or wherever you're able. Subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter at Goonies_world, and check out our website at GooniesWorldPodcast.com. Email us at GooniesWorldPodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.